One day after office hours, Mateo asks if Professor Lee has time to chat about something outside of the class material. Mateo explains that he works at a cafe near campus, and his previous manager was fine with Mateo having a small notepad that he could carry around in his pocket, so that he could write down tasks or lists to help him remember and stay focused. His new manager, however, insists that Mateo needs to learn to keep all the information in his head and verbally berates Mateo anytime he tries to write something down on his notepad. Professor Lee asks Mateo about why writing things down helps him at work, and Mateo explains that he is autistic, and when he gets overwhelmed with the sounds or amount of people in the cafe, he can sometimes forget what he's supposed to be doing. Mateo wonders how to explain this to his manager, that the small accommodation that was working well before actually helps him do his job better, and he worries this is something he will have to deal with throughout his career. Professor Lee tells Mateo that he is likely to run into people at any workplace that will treat him badly if they perceive him as being different from themselves. Luckily, there are skills and techniques that he can learn to use to deal with situations like this. Professor Lee explains that it won't fix every problem Mateo encounters dealing with his autism, but it's a good place to start. He also reminds Mateo that he can have this conversation with his manager without mentioning his autism at all, but it is up to him if he wants to disclose that. A good first step, which Mateo has already done, is to come up with a few possible solutions. Mateo knows that having a small notepad to write things down really helps. It may also help to have more than one option to present to his manager when they have that conversation. For example, if there are general instructions on how to clean a part of the cafe, have them written or printed and hung up for all employees to see. Second, Mateo should think about his own strengths and the value he brings to his workplace. Mateo's coworkers and previous manager all knew that he was a hard worker and that he would help anyone who asked, even if it wasn't his assigned task. Mateo's current manager may need to be reminded of his strengths and that having this small accommodation will help him continue to bring value to their workplace. Lastly, Mateo should consider his manager's perspective and what he may need to convince him to approve an accommodation. If the manager brings up concerns about cleanliness or timeliness of tasks, Mateo should have responses ready. Professor Lee offers to role-play the scenario with Mateo to help him feel more comfortable and plan out his responses to what his manager might say. They practice the conversation, and even though Mateo still feels anxious, he acknowledges that having practiced and prepared responses does make him feel more confident in advocating for himself with his new manager.